everyone. Today is an exciting day because we're launching the very first episode of Zenitech podcasts. We've been working hard to make sure we share interesting topics with you in a simple and engaging way. This week is all about inclusion celebrated worldwide. So for our debut episode, we are going to chat about digital inclusion. I'm Yeva, your host today, and with me today is our colleague Peter. Peter is not just a dedicated Zenitech team member, he's also really passionate about making the world more inclusive. He even wrote an article called Design for Accessibility, a Pathway to Integrity and Loyalty, which we'll dive into today. Before we get started, I want to express our gratitude to Peter for sharing his expertise with all of us. Thank you, Peter, for being here with us today. And let's jump to the first question I have. So before we dive into the discussion on accessibility and inclusion, could you please tell our audience a bit about yourself and your background in this field? What led you to become passionate about digital accessibility, and what experiences have shaped your expertise in this area?
Well, thank you very much for having me as well. Really super excited. My name is Peter Lim. I'm one of the senior product designers at Zenitech. I've been with Zenitech for just coming up to 3 years now. And I started my career as an industrial designer, concentrating on designing physical product aimed at assisting users with disabilities. But as sort of technology continued to evolve, my professional focus sort of naturally transitioned towards the realm of digital products. So I think my passion with accessibility and inclusivity began with childhood visits to my severely disabled Auntie Jackie. It turned from excited wheelchair races with my brother to a more deeper understanding of the daily struggles she faces, which profoundly sort of influenced how I view accessibility. And I think my sort of commitment to accessibility deepened following a personal life-changing accident in 2015, which resulted in a grade 5 shattered kidney. So overnight, I went from being mobile and carefree to facing sort of severe mobility issues and unexpected cognitive challenges. So I think it was this transformation or quite abrupt transformation, drove home the importance of accessibility for me. And it was kind of like a sudden reminder that accessibility isn't just a convenient, but also ensuring that everyone, regardless of their circumstances, should have the right to navigate, interact, and ultimately really enjoy digital products and services. So, this personal experience was a really powerful catalyst and definitely strengthened my sort of determination to create digital spaces that are truly inclusive for all.
Thank you, Peter. Really interesting to hear that it started like in your childhood, but let's move on. And can you elaborate on the key message of your article, Design for Accessibility, a Pathway to Integrity and Loyalty? What inspired you to write about this particular topic?
So I really wanted to start creating sort of an accessibility mini-series of articles, and this seemed like a really nice one that lent closely with a previous client project. The key message from the article is to sort of understand that accessibility isn't just a legal requirement or a checkbox. And ultimately, I wanted to convey that it's a pathway to true empathy with all users, brand integrity, and customer loyalty. So I wanted to convey that inclusive design isn't just sort of that benefiting individuals, but with sort of disabilities and improving their experiences, but it's also enabling organizations to enhance their brand perception, expand their customer base, and achieve better financial success as well.
Yeah, and in your article, you mentioned 1 in 7 people in the UK live with a disability. How can designers, developers, product managers understand the diverse challenges faced by users with disabilities?
Like you said, 1 in 7 people in the UK live with a disability. And I think it's understanding the size and also the specific challenges faced by users. And it requires that shift in a perspective ultimately. And it's really important that we recognise that accessibility includes a wide range of disabilities, not just physical, but also cognitive, visual, hearing, for example. And it's our role as designers, developers, product managers, and also our clients and customers that we truly empathise with our users, their abilities, their experience, and with that goal to create inclusive digital spaces.
And you highlighted as well the fact that digital accessibility and inclusivity are often overlooked, creating usability barriers and exclusion. Can you share some kind of real-life examples or experiences that illustrate the impact of inaccessible digital products?
Yeah, so I think the impact of inaccessible digital products is quite profound and really requires us to tackle it head on. I won't sort of go into sort of specific examples of inaccessible products here, but I think I'd like to highlight maybe a couple of the common challenges and how technology can help resolve them. So I think imagine yourself as a user with visual impairments. Let's say you're heavily relying on a screen reader. And for those that don't know, a screen reader is a crucial assistive technology device that has many functions, but one being text-to-speech conversion and helps users navigate digital products. So you might encounter two problems. First, the UI lacks correct labeling or semantic structure, and this can make it challenging for the screen reader to interpret. And maybe secondly, the website relies significantly on color cues for critical information, and that sort of renders it pretty inaccessible for users with color blindness. So I think this is how technology and the collaboration with our developers can really make a difference. I really want us to sort of adopt best design and development practices that include accessibility at the forefront, providing accurate labeling to ensure semantic HTML, for example, enable screen readers to convey the information effectively to users. And I think we could also implement alt text for images or ARIA roles, accessible rich internet applications to enhance the user experience. So I think we as tech innovators have the opportunity to use technology to address accessibility challenges and create truly accessible and inclusive digital products that avoid isolation and discrimination.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic, and it seems that there is still a lot to do. This demonstrates how technology can play a crucial role in addressing accessibility issues. Could you share more about specific tech solutions or best practices that our development teams can implement to ensure our digital products are more accessible?
Yes, definitely. However, I think it's really important to note that accessibility and inclusivity involves continuous learning, and something I'm looking to share sort of more updates more frequently within Zenitech. And I think accessibility is not just a one-time exercise, and it should be an integral part of all our development processes. It would be fantastic to foster greater collaboration among all disciplines, since achieving sort of accessibility is undeniably a multidisciplinary effort that thrives from diverse perspectives, valuable insights from experiences, and also understanding what opportunities we can do to make products more accessible.
So it means that anyone who has any ideas how to create our products or services more accessible can go right to you, and you'll think about how to create something.
100%.
Also, you mentioned a lack of awareness, limited education, and compliance-driven strategies as challenges hindering accessibility efforts. How can organizations overcome these challenges to prioritize accessibility effectively?
Yeah, I think the challenges of awareness, education and compliance-driven strategies are quite significant hurdles to delivering full accessibility and inclusivity, in my opinion. I think addressing these challenges would lead to a shift in how we approach accessibility as well, but also how our partnerships with our clients can. So I think things off the top of my head, education awareness. I think that regular training sessions or workshops with all teams, including developers, product designers, product managers, testers. I think this will enable us to share knowledge, have the competence to implement guidelines effectively with success. And I think this would I'd also love to embed accessibility checkpoints into all design and code review processes. So it's more of a natural part of our workflow. And I think appoint accessibility champions or advocates within sort of cross-functional teams. I think it's really good to have more people visible within the company that people can go to with questions if they've got a question around how to implement something, or there's something they've read online. I think it's just all that going around to that collaboration to sort of promote initiatives, share best practice, and serve as that go-to resource for accessibility and inclusivity related questions. I think more focus on development side, accessibility testing. We also look to sort of incorporate automated testing tools to catch issues early in development, and also do manual testing as well to involve users with disabilities to gain further valuable insights where possible. Another one, simplified guidelines. The guidelines, such as WCAG, are pretty extensive and sometimes challenging to comprehend. They are long, they're detailed for a reason, but sometimes it can be difficult to sort of comprehend. So I really want to translate these into less complex accessibility guidelines and make them more user-friendly, digestible guidelines.
Yeah. Another question I have, you mentioned in your article that the importance of accessibility testing and involving users with impairments in the design and development process. I wonder, can you share some best practices for conducting accessibility testing effectively?
Yeah. So I think effective accessibility testing is crucial to ensure sort of truly inclusive products. A multi-faceted approach of automated testing tools such as Axel Wave identifies sort of common issues during the early phase of development. And like I said previously, like manual testing should also be conducted to detect any usability issues that the automated tools fail to capture. I think an important factor is that testing scenarios mirror real life experiences and sort of simulates how users with disabilities interact with products. It's important to sort of bake in accessibility testing as a regular part of our development workflow. I think the real challenge is how we portray this to our clients. We've made a real shift recently in the digital practice where clients are really seeing the benefits of incorporating accessibility testing early into the development process. And I think as just a benchmark at Zenitech, we always strive to reach WCAG 2.1 AA as a minimum and AAA where possible. I think just one more point on this one, some stats I continuously refer back to is that early user research is pretty invaluable. And this was highlighted with IBM's study in 2018, concluding that by doing the user research early, there was a 33% reduction in development time and 50% decrease in time to market. And there was a second research study by Forrester Research that estimated a return of $100 to $1,000 for every dollar invested in user research. So this just emphasizes that the value of user research testing within that sort of product development process as well.
Yeah, interesting facts and stats. And Peter, you are a senior product designer, and I'm also interested in the psychology of advertising and design considerations. How do designers take into account the diverse audience, including individuals with disabilities, for example?
Sure. I think although that I'm not heavily involved in the marketing activities in a day-to-day perspective, the principles of inclusivity definitely still apply to advertising as well. I think it's important to ensure accessible color selection, readability through typography, and language choices that fully foster inclusivity. In our design process, we emphasize the importance of color contrast, and this is to ensure that content is legible for individuals with visual impairments, We did have a recent client that actually springs to mind whose primary colour was this bright yellow. This against a white background is just a complete no-no. And as part of our engagement, we did involve the brand style to incorporate complementary accessible colours. So we don't just take their existing brand, we help evolve it as well. From a typography perspective, it's a real pivotal part of how content is perceived and comprehended. Let's take example of uppercase characters. These characters sort of create readability challenges for individuals with dyslexia. So we try to avoid these where possible. Serif typeface, which is a decorative font family, although it looks nice, it kind of, all the extra little bits here and there, that distracts the brain from the overall letter shape, and this creates readability issues as well. So I think it's really important to select font families that enhance readability, so content is digestible for the sort of widest possible audience. And I think just lastly on this point, I was recently sent an article by our Chief People Officer, Lucy Dodd, which emphasised the importance of inclusive language and communication. The article was Inclusive Language, a Catalyst for Connection, and it highlighted the key points about how language choices can impact our audience and to sort of foster inclusivity. So one example was ableist language. So phrases such as blind to the facts or walking the extra mile can inadvertently exclude individuals with disabilities without even thinking about it. So I think this is a real reminder that inclusivity extends beyond just the design choices, but also includes the very words we're using to communicate with our audiences. It's just it's a really important one to add on to the design side of design choices.
Oh, good. I was thinking that in some cases you might need to rebuild your brand book as a business if you want to become more inclusive, but as well you need to keep an eye on what you are, how you express yourself verbally and what words you choose, because someone might not understand them directly or as in that same description or thoughts as you want to express yourself.
100%. Yes, I think it's a really important point.
Yeah. Okay, Peter, your article also discusses future trends in accessibility, including wearable devices, voice interfaces, and AI. How do you envision these technologies evolving to change accessibility further? And what considerations should be kept in mind?
Mm-hmm. I think the future trends in accessibility are heavily influenced by the advancements of technology. And I think this includes artificial intelligence as well. AI has the potential to revolutionize the way we all interact with digital products, eliminating existing barriers for users with disabilities. I think examples could include automated transcription services that could aid individuals with hearing impairments, or AI-driven image recognition could provide audio descriptions for visually impaired users. So I think any AI integration should be implemented inclusively and should avoid bias and discrimination. I think that's paramount to ensure that we remove barriers and not inadvertently create new ones. So I think it's that sensitive balance at the moment.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what the future brings.
Yes.
Way. And finally, the last question I have, can you give me a wow moment that emphasizes the power of digital accessibility and inclusivity?
Yeah, I think without being sort of cliche, I think my wow moment would be when I can wholeheartedly imagine a world where sort of digital products and services are seamlessly accessible to everyone, regardless of their abilities. I think this could include sort of a child with autism, the ability to effortlessly navigate an educational app, senior citizen with limited mobility, the freedom to shop online without barriers, or a professional with sort of visual impairments, the opportunity to collaborate with the latest productivity tools at Miro. I think I personally wouldn't be able to tackle accessibility as inclusivity as a whole. So I'm driving this from definitely a digital space. But I'm really sort of excited to sort of raise the awareness and engage with everyone from Zenitech and our clients to sort of raise that awareness and support the vision. From an organisation perspective, when organisations fully embrace accessibility, they not only improve lives, but they also improve their market position. So I think studies that I mentioned earlier strongly indicate that businesses that prioritise accessibility outperform their competitors financially. So it's a win-win scenario where societal impact and business success go hand in hand. So I think just to sort of wrap up from me, I think my wow moment would be sort of lies in everyone recognising the importance of accessibility, and it's not just a checkbox or a legal requirement. It's a catalyst for change, a driver for innovation, and a pivotal point where we can be more inclusive and create a more prosperous digital future. And we have that opportunity right now.
Yeah, I do agree with all of it. And I believe that everything starts from within, from each of us, right? So yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Peter. That would be it. What an insightful conversation we had today. I want to extend a heartfelt thank you again for sharing this, your knowledge and passion for inclusivity with all of us, and your perspective has truly enriched our understanding, and we're grateful for your valuable input and saying yes and joining us today as our first guest speaker. And for everyone who've been listening us today, I'm saying stay tuned for more exciting topics and conversations in the future. Until then, take care and remember that inclusion is a journey we can all embark on together. So thank you once again for joining us today.
Thank you very much.